Welcome to ijdm. Today's video, something a little different. Today we are working on my MacBook, which was my workhorse since 2012 when the MacBook 15-inch Retina came out back then. And it's overall in good condition, no major dents or scratches. The only real casualty is some of the screen has just I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera. Some of the screen's got a few little imperfections on it, and the rubber's kind of deteriorated around the screen, but overall it's in good condition, and it's just got one little weird spot in the LCD, but it's not even noticeable 99% of the time. And some of the rubber obviously has disappeared there where the hinge thing closes, but I mean, it still closes, opens perfectly. But my latest issue is with the battery. I replaced it a few years ago, and guess what? The battery is once again dead. Something to be said about these aftermarket batteries, they just don't last. So let's get to it. And this again came out in 2012, but it came with tiny little screws. It came out in 2012. This was actually the first generation MacBook Retina, which was 16 gigs installed. I believe I got the 1 terabyte solid state drive, and it's seen its day. So the next step is selling it, and honestly it's time for me to upgrade, and it's just one of those things if I want to keep on doing videos. So what we're gonna do is just start by, before I do that, and there's two types of screws here. The ones you got to worry about and the ones that you don't have to worry about are far and few between, because they are so small, if you drop them you'll never find them again, because they are smaller than a flea. I don't know if you can even see that in my hand. That screw is like actually there. So that's a small one, so I'm going to put that in the pink pill holder there. I started this video the other night, but I was interrupted, so I decided to just start over again. That's another short screw, and we're just going to do this for all the screws. And if you see me put one in the other container, then obviously it was one of the longer ones, and I'm being very careful to capture the screws before they bounce on my floor and disappear forever. And it's hard to see here, but there is a couple screws that are a little bit different, so I'm going to have to be cognizant. I think those are the ones that go along the hinge assembly here, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll just put the cap on this so they don't disappear off into oblivion. Next step is simply just removing the cover, which should easily pop off, but you want to be careful because you don't want to bend it at all. So I'm just working my fingernails around, and we're in. There's some dust on the cover. We'll clean that off, and we'll just set that aside over here. And here you can see yeah, nearly 50% of this laptop is battery, and the fans definitely need some cleaning. I see a lot, not a lot of dust, but I just think this thing needs a good cleanup. I'm not going to break it down too much. I'm honestly afraid of messing anything up other than just doing the battery itself. Now, Apple in their infinite wisdom, knowing the batteries would go bad and thinking that only rich people and privileged people can have these type of laptops, decided to glue the batteries in rather than have them somehow just sitting here. So that is going to be the next fun step, is actually trying to get these out of here. And unless they just pop out, I wouldn't recommend just trying to pop them out, because if you damage them, like this one's kind of coming loose, if you damage these batteries, it could start a fire and they could explode. So the thing I learned in the past is you use a string, and if you can do it just right, and maybe the string might be a little too big. I don't know, I broke the last one when I tried this. I might even need some monofilament, and I'll try the prying method again. But again, like I said, I don't want to really do anything to piss these things off, because they do get angry. They say lithium ion's the future, and I mean, yes and no. The problem is the disposal of them. I don't know if there's even a good way they're actually disposed of and recycled. So I'm a little two-sided about it. And oh man, this is just not I can't even get the string to kind of do its sawing action, which is what you kind of want to do. But maybe maybe it'll just kind of lift off. I'm just carefully just lifting. Careful not to damage these battery packs. And yes, I am shaking. Taking these damn things out of these laptops is like, to me, is like defusing a bomb. It really is. All right, well, that one's loose, so let's see. These are in there good. I mean, this is 90% of your project here, is getting these dang cells out of here off of the glued stuff that the new batteries do include it as well. So you want to make sure you clean the old stuff off. So what I'm doing is I'm going to work each battery loose a little bit by a little bit. Carefully not to damage the actual battery. I probably should use a spudger for this. Rather, I do have one handy here. Or on some of the metal tip that could pierce the battery. We'll go with this. Even if I ruin this, it's okay. It was just a cheap one, but at least it won't pierce the battery. So I'm going to get my finger under there and just kind of... Alright, first cell is out. Alright, so... Well, it sat back down again, but I don't think it's going to stick too hard. It's pretty dry in here. It's not humid or anything. So let's see if we can get this next one out. I am literally shaking right now. Oh, some people may say, nah, it's not that bad. Well, all right. Next one came out. So I'm going to stop down for a minute and get something that I should have here while I'm doing this, just in case. And back again, as you can see, I got a extinguisher set here. It says it's full, so good to go. So this cell is out. I worked it out carefully with the spudger. You can use the thread method and kind of saw them through, but I mean, this is coming out okay. I think I added a little more adhesive because they kept coming loose. It's these big ones that are going to be, oh man, these things are going to be hard to get out. Just, I don't have enough grip, so to speak. Let's just go to the next one and see what one wants to move next. All right, this one seems like it's starting to. Well, there goes that. Well, huh. I'm just kind of letting the adhesive kind of pull out on its own as I kind of push down. And the battery's slowly lifting up, and I'm just being careful not to get the sharp tip of that thing in there. There may be easier ways of doing this, but let's just keep working at it. And I'm going to be quiet, and we'll just do a fast forward on this and see how long this takes to get this dang thing out of here. Okay, sit rep where we're at right now is I'm just trying to get the center two adhesives. This is a train wreck. Oh man. So bottom line, most people would probably take this to an Apple store and have them do it there, and I don't blame you. I mean, dealing with this is a nightmare. Do not mishandle. Well, that's a hell of a statement in the middle of this when I'm looking at it, considering the way these things are built. The only way you can get them out is if you mishandle them a little bit. Okay, from what I can see here, a little piece kind of slides underneath that hinge, and that's what was keeping them in. And then I guess there's something I need to do with this cable here, and I forget. It's been a few years. I think to get the... Yeah. Smaller one I was already at here. Ah, that would help. That probably was part of my problem right there. I'd take that piece out, which I guess is part of the battery pack. But we'll still save it until then, until we get the new ones. But everything working? Yep, that lifts right out. And let's not set that face down on the table. So there's your battery packs with all the adhesive. So my next stage is going to be, and I'm just going to do this just kind of, I don't know, let's see. Well, you can see where the previous battery is, where I scraped it out, and then where the new adhesive is. So far, we'll clean this up obviously later a little more, but yeah, so we'll just clean that up a little bit after. Would I recommend doing this yourself? Well, if you really have to save money and you do know what you're doing and you're a little bit inclined for this kind of thing, I mean, this is almost like doing car mechanic work and defusing a bomb at the same time. So I wouldn't recommend it for an everyday person. And there, we got that out. And what I want to do until I get the new batteries, which I'm going to try to order this week, I'm just going to order some cheap ones from Amazon because I just want to get it working on battery power again. And we'll keep this little piece right kind of here. That's another thing you gotta be careful when you're taking the battery out and prying and stuff, is not to damage this part, which is your track point backing on the flip side. So we'll just put the screws back in here. And from here we can pretty much take a look at the rest of the laptop. Fans are a little dirty that I can see. Let me use this butter, not something metal. And there's some dirt in there, so we'll spray those out, clean those, blow those out best we can. I'm not going to do it on video. We got some lint trapped in here. There's a little bit of something going on. Like I said, I'm not going to totally disassemble it, but while it's apart, I'm obviously going to get all this residual dust out of here. But for now, that will be the end of part one of this. This will definitely be a two-parter because I just want to get some videos out right now, and I got a lot of stuff coming up that should be fun and some stuff on the way. So, and a lot of stuff I'm actually getting rid of. So if you want to check out some of my auctions, I'll be sure to mention in some of the descriptions and stuff, and highlighting each one of those that I'm going to, in a kind of a short or maybe a couple of them at a time, that I'm planning on listing. And if you're interested in picking up some retro tech for, you know, fairly decent cost, and that's fine. Fact is, I'd love to keep all this stuff, and as much as I treasure it, it's just that the problem is storage space. I live in a house that's 1,400 square feet, and there's only so much I can do. That's it for ijdm. Again, if this type of video wasn't your thing, then please check into my other videos. There's a lot of stuff where I deal with other different types of retro tech, and we have fun doing it, just hanging out and playing around like this. But I'll consider this a successful battery removal, despite maybe I didn't do it to code and using the thread method, but it wasn't working, and it didn't work last time. But overall, I am still alive. There was no explosions as of yet. In fact, I'm going to take that battery and probably stick it somewhere outside in a concrete box until I can dispose of it properly. But the other thing I wanted to check is make sure the battery is the same configuration as the one I'll be replacing it with. We'll see you next time. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you later.